Welcome to a new video and a new camera review of the Zenfone 9. This time around, not the native camera application that I will use here, but the GCam, the Google camera application that I want to try out because many people asked me about this. So let's get started. So when we start off with the ultra wide angle on the Zenfone 9 using the Google camera, you have to go into your settings and enable POF's EIS for it to have a little bit of stabilization. There's EIS version 2 and 3 that is not working. So this is stabilization EIS v3 on the ultra wide angle, and I figured out that this is working on the new GCam version, so I'm just walking around here to demonstrate it to you that this is much more stable than what I recorded earlier. So yeah, what do you think about this one? Also, by the way, using the internal microphones just to show you if internal mics are working fine on GCam as well. I will put the link of the latest version that I'm testing here right now also down in the description. Otherwise, just check out for the newest version. Maybe there will be a config coming as well with new additions. So this is the ultra wide angle 4K 30. Sadly, I cannot switch to the main lens during recording. I have to stop recording and then switch to the main lens. So let's do this now. And this is now the gimbal camera. Sun behind me, probably it will give you some issues, but I wanted to take this advantage or this the possibility to check out the gimbal stabilization on GCam because I'm climbing up some stairs. So we have to check how good the gimbal is here right now because there are various different settings, and what I set up here right now is EIS version 3 for this gimbal camera, and yeah, I will show you the settings just in a minute. But what we want to check out is eventually also the photos first, and then at the end I will show you the settings that I set up for GCam on the Zenfone 9. What do you think about this quality here of the main camera? I think focusing might be still an issue because it's like a problem of the driver and the hardware. But what do you think about GCam video on the Zenfone 9? So let's start off with the photos. GCam always on the left and the Asus cam always on the right. We start with low light photos. Low light photos look almost the same, but what you notice directly is that we have much more processing going on the Asus cam, and GCam doesn't have so much processing. So we have much more sharpening up going on the Asus cam, but also denoising. So we can see much more noise on the GCam and not as sharp pictures, as you can see at least when it comes to the text here. When it comes to super low light, ultra low light, the GCam is doing simply a better job. As you can see here, the night side mode is winning against the night mode of the Asus cam, where the Asus cam has a bit of a bluish tint and missing information. Maybe we can see a little bit here, but it is not good. It's much brighter here. In terms of noise, I think almost the same, but we don't have so much color noise going on the GCam. The Asus cam is doing a worse job. Then another shot to show you the difference in terms of colors. So I shot a new smartphone here, the Xiaomi 12S Ultra, the screen, and you can see how much pronounced the red in this color is. Just like overblown. The actual color is what the GCam captured here. As you can see, also the DB logo is has a completely different red, and the same goes for the More Apps folder, where it just looks artificial and a bit of fake, and the GCam is much more natural. You can see it as well here in the text that has a bit of a halo effect going on, but the sharpening up and the changing and boosting of colors is making it looking a little bit worse on the Asus cam, in my opinion. And overall, the picture is also a little bit brighter and everything is sharpened up. Also the background, where here we have a small fall off in terms of sharpness of a GCam, which is much more natural. You can see it outside as well. First of all, the focusing is a bit of different. The GCam managed to focus on stuff that I want to focus on, just like the foreground here, where here it managed to focus on the background. It is also adding a little bit more contrast into the picture that can also lead to information loss and this more goofy artificial kind of look. Here you can see it as well clearly. We have different colors. First in the foreground here, the green, and here the green, more realistic the GCam. It's much more punchy on the Asus cam, and you can see already what this is doing with the sharpening up, it's just ridiculous. And you can see it also in the background here. We have much more sharpening applied. We have bluish colors punched again. We can see some detail loss in the trees here because we have just also contrast raised on the Asus Cam, and overall it looks a bit more artificial on the Asus Cam in general. And we can clearly see this also with the ultra wide angle as best, because the ultra wide angle has ultra wide angle and is also very noisy by default, but Asus is using very strong heavily denoising algorithm to hide this. And you can see it clearly here on the GCam we have much more noise, and especially in the shadows you can see much more noise creeping in, but we have also much more sharpness and much more details in the GCam. Just look at the left here of the building and compare it to the GCam. Much more details that we didn't see. We have of course the punchy colors again, and we have of course the lack of details also in this wall, where we don't see the little holes that we have here, and the structure of the wall itself, which looks much more natural. The same goes for the bush, where the contrast is so much raised that you don't see much of the bush here in the middle, where you can clearly see it here. So there is more noise on the GCam, but it's also more detailed, and I really like the ultra wide angle shots with the GCam much more, because I was surprised how good the ultra wide angle can actually be. Let's talk a bit about sharpening up in colors again. We can see it here in the main cam as well. It is adding some clarity. It has some focus issues in this case as well. I think we nailed it with the GCam a bit better. We have more clarity and we have better colors. Look at the Onezo or Wanzo sign here. I'm not sure, it's in Düsseldorf, so might be Japanese. This yellow is going more into the orangey kind of color, and here it is like punchy yellow, which is a bit more artificial. And also here the license plate of this car also is less, it's sharpened up, it looks artificial. And the more you go and take a look at the 100% view, the more, I'm not pixel peeping here. Some people are always claiming that maybe I'm too much pixel peeping here. I'm just going into 100%. I'm not going 200, 300 or 400% to show you the difference in terms of pixels. I'm just going to the 100% to show you what would happen if you would go and watch it on a big TV or something like this. And this is what you can see. There's much more artificial sharpening. There is much more clarity that they try to add, much more boosting of colors, and this all makes it, just look at it. Asus Cam looks artificial, GCam looks much more natural. If there's not so much detail, just don't try to add it artificially. The same goes for here. You can clearly see, this is the best photo, I think, the color difference, but not only the color difference, just look at the characters, look at the sign and what is written here, the numbers, and see this over sharpened glowing around the number 300. Around the arrow, around the P, the 60, and the text underneath there. There's like a little outline, white outline that sharpens this up, where we don't have this on the GCam. It's looking much more natural. Granted, looking at the background here, it is also lacking a little bit here. It was raising the shadows, bumping up the color. You can clearly read what is written on the bus here. You cannot do it on a GCam. But look at the trees and look how more natural those trees look like, because it's not sharpened up, and how much the sharpened up, contrast adding and punching colors is looking like a nightmare on the Asus Cam. You can see clearly here also in the background how much more natural this sign here of the and in overall how much more natural this GCam looks like here in the background for this building, where it's like sharpened up. It's a mess on the Asus Cam. So I really don't like this Asus Cam. And here again the same thing, where you can see it here in the sign in the foreground. The over processing on the Asus Cam makes this little sign almost unreadable, where it's super clearly readable on the GCam, because it's not messing so much with the picture, which is interesting. Then when it comes to HDR, we are almost on par in terms of HDR. I would say a little bit maybe better the Asus Cam, where we can see clearly the outline of the sun, where here is a bit more blurry on the GCam. But overall, I like the output of the GCam better. Here's almost no moiré at the river and the fence there, and here it's like so artificial. The moiré you can see because of over sharpening going on and the contrast and the colors, everything wrong here on the Asus Cam. So it's a night and day difference. The GCam is doing a much nicer job overall. Ultra wide angle, you can clearly see it, how much sharper as well it is, because the denoising on the Asus Cam is so strong and aggressive that everything becomes a little bit blurry here. And yeah, even people, I'm not sure if I have a person here riding bikes and so on, it is really obvious that it is very noisy on the GCam, but it's also, you have more information and it just looks much better in my opinion. And you can see it here also, punchy colors on the Asus Cam. Overall, I have to say I like the GCam much more. I just can only recommend look at these lines here and the over sharpening, what's going on here, and compare it with here. It's so much more natural on the GCam. Just use the GCam for photos on the Zenfone 9. This is the current workaround if you want to take good, pleasant pictures. Otherwise, the Asus Cam is a nightmare if you go to 100% and look at the pictures. Otherwise, they look fine if you have them zoomed out maybe, and the punchy colors doing their stuff, a bit artificial here and there. But if as soon as you zoom in, or you want to crop into your photos, it's what is it, 12 megapixels or something that you get out of it. It's something that you want to have usually, the crop able to be cropping in. But if it's looking so nightmarish and artificial on the Asus Cam, you don't want it. So stick with the GCam when you want to take pictures with the Zenfone 9. Hope Asus can improve on this and yeah, allow us to take much more natural pictures with their Zenfone 9, because the hardware is capable, as you can see here, with the GCam mod. So here we have the Google Cam, and I show you my settings that I'm using here for Google Cam, so you can see the interface is working fine. We have on video and in camera mode, we have the two lenses, 0.7 and 1 times in terms of photo, and in terms of video we have 0.7 times and 1 times as well. And we can go into settings here, and the most important things, I left everything by default here, or the defaults. Go to advanced and then go to stream config, and here I set up for the back wide camera. That was a mistake that I did earlier, where I didn't figure out that EISV3 was working. I set up EISV3 with this version here, it's working fine, and the same goes for the back main camera, set EISV3, and the same goes for the front main camera. I didn't set it here yet, but set EISV3, and then you have nice stabilization available for those lenses as well. So this is basically everything that I set up here, nothing else that I had to set up here, and everything's working fine, and this is what you see in my video. So what do you think about a GCam on the Zenfone 9? I'm pretty surprised by the quality, because I really think, especially in video, it can improve the quality, especially the focusing of the video, that I was surprised with, that it worked without much of an issue. So what do you think about the GCam on the Zenfone 9? Does it improve the photo quality? What do you think about this one? Write it down in the comment section. That's everything for this short little video. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Until the next time. Bye.